Hey, good morning, guys. I come outside and was sitting under this tree watching, and I was doing a video. Of course, it's shut down. I was sitting here and was watching it, and my camera went black. So, Angel over here, she's over here hiding. She's hanging out with me. I was watching a mama bird feed her baby. This tree right here is a mulberry tree, and the little mama bird was feeding her baby in it. It was pretty neat watching that interaction. But me and Angel hanging out. The kids, they was out and they had to go back in. They got some work to do, so they all went back in the house. And I'm hanging out under the tree, listening to the birds and looking through scriptures here. I've got Ephesians chapter 6 here that get you set here. This right here is where'd I put my paper? I get here and get to setting and looking at stuff. I've got my my scriptures out here. I was looking at 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and 5. There's just some neat stuff in there. I was reading it. Here, Ephesians 6 verse 4. Where's Angel at? The baby chickens are coming out. They're doing their thing. I've got, it's a neat view down through here. I'll show you all where I'm looking at. Whoops, the camera moved on me. But, wait, whoops, let me get this. I can hold it still. I don't know. Right down in there somewhere is a bunch of, way back down in there. This won't get any bigger. Anyway, they're back there hanging out. Them little ones are. Way down there. Anyway, I can watch that from up here, can't I? Back around here where I can see you. When I put this chair here, that sun wasn't in that spot. There's holes in them leaves. I've got Ephesians 6 verse 4 sitting here. And these references I've got out of scriptures. I wrote out of Paul's letters. Ephesians 6 verse 4 had Colossians 3:21 as a reference, and 2 Timothy 3:15 and 2 Timothy 1:5. So looks like I pulled up one or two verses on each side of that to make them pull together. But these are the references that I got out of Paul's writings. And y'all check that out. Y'all check this yard out. That's pretty cool. Now, let me get that. It won't go any closer. But there we go. How's that? That looks a little better than looking at me, doesn't it? All right. All right. So Ephesians 6, verse 4 says, "And fathers, do not be vexing your children, but be nurturing them in the discipline and admonition of the Lord." Ephesians 6:4. Now, a handful of references here. We get these out of Paul's letters. So y'all get them and look them up. Read them in context with what's there, because it does make a difference. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing in the Lord. Fathers, do not vex your children, lest they may be disheartened. Colossians 3:20 and 21. Now, you be remaining in what you learned and verified, being aware from whom you learned it, and that from a babe you are acquainted with the sacred scriptures, which are able to make you wise for salvation through faith, which is in Christ Jesus. 2 Timothy 3:14 and 15. Grateful am I to God, to whom I am offering divine service from my ancestors with a clear conscience, as I have an unimmediate remembrance concerning you in my petitions, night and day, longing to see you, remembering your tears, that I may be filled full of joy. getting a reminder of the unfeigned faith which is in you, which first makes its home in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice. Now I am persuaded that it is in you also. 2 Timothy 1, verse 3 through 5. Wow. That's the references that I wrote out for Ephesians 6:4. And we won't add to that. I'll put that over here out of the way. Yeah, y'all check that out. I'm looking here in the 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17 and 18. And on, we'll go into chapter 5 here for just a second, because this is some neat stuff here. You know, in verse 17 it says, "For the momentary lightness of our affliction is producing for us a transcendent Aeonian burden of glory." Can you imagine how big and transcendent? Look that word up. Look up transcendent. And then look up and look. It says, "For a transcendent Aeonian burden of glory." And are not noting what is being observed, but what is not being observed. For what is being observed is temporary. All this around us, all this, this is temporary. Yeah. Yet what is not being observed is Aeonian. Man, you know, for we are aware, this is verse 5, or chapter 5 says, for we are aware that if our terrestrial tabernacle house should be demolished, we have a building of God, a house not made by hands, Aeonian in the heavens. For in this also we are groaning, longing to be dressed in our habitation, which is out of heaven. Boy, ain't that right? We all are saying it's time. It's just time. We're ready. Or the song says, just can't wait to get out of this place, or something. But for in this we are groaning, longing to be dressed in our habitation, which is out of heaven. If so be that being dressed also, we shall not be found naked. For we also, who are in the tabernacle, are groaning, being burdened, on which we are not wanting to be stripped, but to be dressed, that the mortal may be swallowed up by life. Swallowed up by life. Imagine getting a yoni life. That's life beyond the reach of death. Now he who produces us for the same longing is God, who is giving us the earnest in spirit. Wow. Can you imagine that? There's just so much in it. Look down here at verse 18. Verse 18 and 19. Let's look. You know, 2 Corinthians? Just a little bit here. Yet all is of God, who conciliates us to himself through Christ, and is giving us the dispensation of the conciliation. How that God was in Christ, conciliating the world to himself, not reckoning their offenses to them, but placing in us the word of the conciliation. How about that? For Christ, then, are we ambassadors, as of God entreating through us. We are beseeching for Christ's sake, be conciliated to God. For the one not knowing sin, he makes to be a sin offering for our sakes, that we may be becoming God's righteousness in him. How about that? That's 2 Corinthians chapter 5, that's verse 18 through 21. But anyway, I was looking through this and that stuck out at me today. And, you know, we got things in life that we struggle with, and it's all temporary. It's a bear cat to go through it now. It's hard to go through, you know, these struggles. We we wrestle with it. You know, we got all that with us, and we're mortal, and we have all these issues in us. But it's temporary. It's gonna be a nice day. I hope you all have a good day. I really do. I think it's time we get out and see what God's got for us. Y'all will get this Saturday morning. This is Friday evening here at our house, and it was 93 degrees driving down our driveway a while ago. And it's good. Got to go in the house, get cooled off. But it's perfect outside. Look what God's done with the place. Flowers blooming, birds singing, grass is growing. It's kind of brittle right now. It's got kind of dry, but it's nice. All right. Grace and peace to y'all. Marcia and I appreciate you hanging out with us. So let's get the day started. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. See you then.